Shalom, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom also to the one-third Israelites, which include the Judah children, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Indians who are still oppressed together, according to the book of Jeremiah 50 and 33. But to whom Soleil pertained the adoption, the giving of the law, the promises, the glory, and the covenants, according to the book of Romans, chapter 9. If you don't know, Putin ally warns missile salvo is first episode of Russian revenge. A huge missile barrage unleashed on Ukraine today is merely the first episode of Russia's revenge for a blast which crippled the Crimea Bridge, and there will be others. One of Putin's staunchest allies who has warned today. Dmitry Medvedev, who once served as President Putin's dad, said Ukraine poses a constant, direct and clear threat to Russia, and that the Kremlin should aim to completely dismantle the political regime of Ukraine, which he described as Nazi. He spoke shortly after Putin led with 38 missiles at what he claimed were military, energy and communications networks in Ukraine. Kyiv said the missiles actually hit power plants and busy civilian areas in major cities. Okay, the last article what I was reading also, okay, that Ukraine should stop blaming Russia for shooting actually at nuclear plants. Okay, so it's actually Ukraine shooting at them and then blaming Russia. Okay, and it's anyway kind of like always the same, you know. Somebody does something, then they play the other side for it. We don't know because we are not there, right? But you better believe that the mass media got some good lies for you. Kerry said the missiles actually hit power plants and busy civilian areas in major cities. And that's of course not a lie. Killing at least 11 and wounding scores more. It was Russia's largest single barrage since the opening day of war. As Medvedev issued his threat, Belarus dictator Alexander Lukashenko appeared to have to be laying the groundwork to join the war. He announced that Russian units would combine with his own and deploy to the Ukraine border, accusing Kyiv of planning to attack with help from allies Poland and Lithuania. Belarus has acted as a staging ground for Russian attacks on Ukraine, but has not yet been involved in the fighting. Polish Interior Minister Maciej Wąsik said his government is now inspecting its bomb shelters to make sure they are fit for purpose. Dot insisted the move is routine and not in response to Russia's bombardment. Warsaw is preparing for the darkest scenarios ever. Even if there is only a small probability that they will occur, he added. Okay, this will be a short lesson, just some updates, you know. Imagine the response if a Russian official called for assassination of Biden. There would be hell to pay. Congress would demand bombing of Moscow begin. Post-haste, the corporate propaganda media would have a field day. Brainless Russophobia would spread faster than COVID. Russians would be gunned down on the streets of America. Yeah, I can't, because these people would bug out in America even when you have a Russian family walking down the street in America, which has nothing to do with the war in Ukraine. Okay, and is maybe more American than you yourself, okay? You would something like that expect to happen because, you know, another reason why democracy is so stupid, okay? Most of the people are not thinking like, you know, civilized people would think, okay? You would say, oh, okay, it's just the same as if you say like the Africans and or if you say like the Hamites and the Shemites are the same. Okay, you have Shamite Africans and you have Hamite Africans, just like you have, for example, you have Germans that are not really Germans, okay, but called themselves, of course, Germans after a little while. They lived generation after generation here in Germany. And you have Germans that been longer here, okay. For example, you have can't you have a Turkish man, for example, and a German woman in the beginning when they come to Germany and they have a son. Let's say he looks Turkish, then 5 generations after that, the son looks so German that people would believe that he is, that this has to be a German from I don't know, 1800. But in really, okay, this Teemanite is only there for 50 years, This Germanite is really not long there, but he looks like he is German. That's what I wanted to say. You know, because there was a Germany before 1800. No, let me say like that. They believe, okay, this is a family that was here, that has generations going back to, I don't know, 1600. Okay, but really this family came to Germany in, I don't know, 1800. Okay, you know what I mean. Okay, so there is the real Germans doesn't exist. Okay, there is no real German. Okay, if you want to go back to the Dark Ages, you would say the real Germans were so-called Negroes. Okay, but anyway, and you have also enough proof for that. Just watch at relics we have certain. Okay, relics that we have. Okay, go on the website. Real history point www. Okay, and here you have the first civilizations were all so-called black civilizations. It talks about Germany in some uh, in some site here. You have to type it in, maybe Germany. Okay, whatever. Oh, I can't. Just do that. So and then Germany. Okay. Google history.ww space Germany. And then you will come to so-called Black Germany. And here you have even relics. Okay, and enough text, of course, if you want to go into that, about how we can prove, okay, that the real Germans were actually so-called black. Okay. Here, for example, Charles, I believe the fourth, does it mean? King of France, 1338 to 80, returns the sword of the High Constable to Bertrand du Guesclin, circa 1320 to 80. Okay, 1320. Okay, not some 1800 shit. It's lucky for my French. From the history D to Guesclin, after the poem by Cuvelier, early 15th century. Verum. Okay, 15th century. Okay, so you know the real, already. Okay, the real Germans were not how uninformed, how an uninformed human here or person here would believe in the first place, or would answer to you if you ask or her. Okay. Here, for example, also interesting 1300s Frankish bronze seal of a guy, Lord of Nuki Valley, so-called, clearly a so-called Negro. Okay, clearly. Okay, with wax impression consisting of a bust of a black man, so-called black man, trapped on the neck or neck and shoulders, with text legend found in the Seine River, Paris in 1866, British Museum. Okay. The first Greeks were also so-called, I believe they were, you can say, I don't know the specific tribe they were, but let's just say they were so-called black. The first Romans also. Okay. So people really don't know what they're talking about. And yet he is a former USG official, man undoubtedly guilty of numerous war crimes, calling for the president. Wait, do we stop here? Count down the season. I can. President of Russia to be assassinated. He threatened the people of Russia with retaliation for the supposed nuclear threats for the leadership. Putin said nukes may be used if Russia faces an existential threat. The media lies and says he will use tactical nukes in Ukraine if Russia begins to lose. There is no way Russia can lose in Ukraine, no matter what the turncoat Matt Rogers website says. Okay, and that's really the case. Okay, you would believe, okay, what are these YouTubers and other people who are obviously uninformed about any way of reality or any reality, okay, on this earth. They say like, oh, Russia can win the war, okay, when there is no winning of war, okay. Even when there's the possibility that Russia can be at some point, oh, I think we have a worst case scenario, even then it can still use, as it says here, nuclear waste, let me say like that, to win the war, okay. So really, to win the war, okay, Ukraine has to shoot missiles, ICBM missiles or whatever, you know, on Moscow, okay, then it can win the war. But it's not in prophecy that this war will not bring escalation also. Okay, so there are really a lot of uninformed people, okay, even ones, as I said, who actually believe that Ukraine will win a war, or that you can win a war against Russia, okay, when that's not the case. You can't win a war against Russia, okay, before Russia admits even that somebody is winning, okay, against them, it would shoot a missile, okay. It's just even what it is, okay. But you know, people in these latter days are so bugged out and out of information, okay, that it's actually that, you know, that you may think sometimes that if they really believe what they say, you know. But anyway, not a ripple, hardly anyone in the corporate propaganda media that is complained about how outrageous John Bolton's remarks were. In the video, Bolton has all the composure of Jeffrey Dahmer doing his trial for murder. It's where these warmongers are called out first and foremost. John Bolton during the Bush administration when he pretended to be ambassador to the United Nations, because few in Congress saw him as ambassadorial Material did not war to confirm was the primary driving force behind the illegal and war crime-ridden invasion of Iraq. 1.5 million people killed. People like Bolton, who don't want any constraints on his power from the international rule of law, are just trying out for the role of people like Nazi generals Günther von Kluge and Gerd von Rundstedt, who led the assault on Poland riots during Kohl. Bolton is a staunch defender of racist Likud ethnic cleansers in Israel, thus a supporter of apartheid and assassination of journalists, both serious crimes under the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, the 1973 United Nations International Convention on the Suppression and Punishment of the Crime of Apartheid has not been applied to Israel, clearly an apartheid state. Article 4A4 of the Third Geneva Convention and Article 79 or 97 of Additional Protocol I mention the protection of journalists. International law, the Fourth Geneva Convention prohibits without exception the extrajudicial killing and considers it was a grave violation of international humanitarian law and human rights protocols, writes Wasem Maulana, Assassination and International Human Law. Necrons like Bolton don't believe in laws preventing them from attacking foreign countries and calling for the assassination of elected foreign leaders. Bolton's casual reference to murdering Vladimir Putin and warning the Russian people of the fate that awaits them, likely along the lines of what Bush did in Iraq and Obama and Trump did in Syria and Libya, is not featured in the headlines of the corporate war propaganda media. Instead, the reports focus on Biden's idiotic reference to Armageddon, thus widening the political divide between Democrats and Republicans, while the state continues to push for World War III. It is truly disgusting. The corporate media turns to expert and former officials of Bolton's reprehensible caliber for discussion on what is evolving into World War III and nuclear annihilation. Annihilation. Meanwhile, those exposing war crimes of the state are locked away and slowly tortured to death, as seems to be the case with Julian Assange. This is a German video what I made last time, really going into this third woe verse. Revelation 14 and 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Quickly. So, basically the point where it's going is, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Yahushai, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped God, saying, We give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. Come, because this is where this world war will go into. That the kingdom will be. That's why we say that the coming of the Lord is really soon. Because this war is also escalating. But not just that, but Armageddon. And Armageddon is the last war, so to speak. and we read in Revelation 11 and 14 in Tools, because the word there for, oh wait, in the Greek, the word there for the Greek, for the Greek word here, wait, here, woe, okay, O-R-E, and I don't play it, okay, alas, grief, okay, a primary exclamation of grief, woe, alas, woe, okay. So you know it's talking about destruction. You see, for example, here Luke 11:42, but woe unto you Pharisees, okay. Or Luke 6:26, woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets, okay. Or here Luke 6:24, but woe unto you that are rich, okay. So it always means destruction, okay. Or Matthew 24:19, and woe unto them that are giving suck in these days, basically, you know. Can. So basically it means destruction. If you don't believe me, here's the Greek word again, and I gave you even examples for that. So let's look onto the first woe, because we was talking about, okay, 11 and 14, 3 woes, obviously, okay, 3 woes. The second woe is past, okay, so according to this verse, the second woe is past, and, wait, yeah, can't, the second woe is past, so the first woe also passed, and the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, so let's see what these first 2 woes were, because they are obviously in the past, according to this verse, okay, from the most sold book of this earth. First World War. The First World War, often abbreviated as World War One or World War One, was a major global conflict that began on the 28th July 1914. Okay, 1914. Keep that number in mind. And ended on 11th November 1918, referred to by contemporaries as the Great War. Its belligerents included much of Europe, the Russian Empire, the United States of America, and the Ottoman Empire. Okay, basically, I don't say, you know, the what is it? Whatever, I forget the name. But anyway, the Ottoman Empire, with fighting taking places across Europe, the Middle East, including the recent invention of the airplane, trench warfare, and especially chemical weapons, made it one of the deadliest conflicts in history. Okay. An estimated 9 million soldiers died in combat, with another 5 million civilian deaths as a result of military actions, hunger, and disease. Okay, because the scripture tells you that with a war always comes also hunger and disease. Millions more died in genocides within the Ottoman Empire and the 1918 influenza pandemic, which was exacerbated by the movement of combatants during the war. Okay, so let's look the Second World War. So the second war, okay, we was reading the first war, which is past according to the verse, and the Second World War also passed already according to this verse. So let's look at the World War II. World War II, or the Second World War, often abbreviated as World War II, was a global war that, okay, you have to look on the screen if you want to read what it's, you know, more specifically. was a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945. Okay, let's read it again. 1939 to 1945. It involved the vast majority of the world's countries, including all the great powers, forming two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis powers. World War III was a total war that directly involved more than 100 million personnel from more than 30 countries. The major participants in the war threw their entire economic, industrial, and scientific capabilities behind the war effort, blurring the distinction between civilian and military resources. Okay, if you live in Timen or Germany, you may know World War II from Hitler. Okay. Aircraft played a major role in the conflict, enabling the strategic bombing of population centers. Okay. And deploying the only two nuclear weapons ever used in war. World War II was by far the deadliest conflict in human history. It resulted in 70 to 85 million fatalities, mostly among civilians. Tens of millions died due to genocides, starvation, massacres, and disease. Okay, this is just these words perfectly fit to America really soon, when the first missile will be shot at America. Okay, the horse sitting on the beast, because you read in the Bible that from Daniel, the book of Daniel, that these nations will start to hate America, and you better believe that this war will escalate on the whole world, not just in America. Okay, kind of like, okay, but America will be the main destruction. Okay, so obviously, according to the book of Revelation 11 and 14, there were two great destruction, and the third destruction is quickly to come. Okay, so definitely the Bible is the world's, the book of the world with the most information in it. What does profit you, you would say, the most, because it gives you the most knowledge. Okay, and with that, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash, Barakatam.